both albums are chock full of really great songs, and a lot more varied than the stuff that Guns N' Roses used to do. Songs like Estranged and Civil War are on here. Pretty Tied Up, which was from the Terminator soundtrack, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Bob Dylan cover. But yeah, this is just a fantastic album. One of my favorites. Axl is very, his soul runs deep for miles. So.
We think he actually left it there on that album.
Yeah, we don't have to get into Axl Rose. It's a long conversation. All right, my number 2, you've seen this before, the Rolling Stones' Let It Bleed. And like Charles said, my favorite song also is the title track, Let It Bleed. Just some of the greatest lyrics of all time. But also great songs, Love in Vain, Monkey Man.
Country Honk.
Yeah, which was the original version of Honky Tonk Women and Better Than It. And also one of my personal all-time favorites, Keith Richards' You Got the Silver, which he wrote for then girlfriend Anita Pallenberg, who is my one of my inspirations, heroes, sartorial idols, etc.
What's your number 1 pick?
Okay. Number 1, and just as a little preface, this, just because it's my number 1 favorite album doesn't mean that I think it's the best album ever recorded. For example, Charles had Led Zeppelin 4 as one of his favorite albums of all time, and I can safely say that Led Zeppelin 4 is a better album in terms of the quality of the songs, etc. And Let It Bleed is a better album than this. But this is kind of my first awakening to rock and roll music when I was 15 years old. It's the album Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. This was their official debut album, released in 1987. This is actually not the original cover. The original cover was much more obscene, and they released like 10 or 15,000 copies. I'm still looking for a copy of the original, but it goes online for like $80, $100, so it's kind of expensive.
Hey, if you got one out there, there's an email address at the end of the show. Let us know.
But anyway, Appetite for Destruction really put a dent in the music scene, and just some fantastic classic songs everyone knows, like Paradise City and Sweet Child of Mine, but also other lesser known songs like Mr. Brownstone, Out to Get Me, It's So Easy, Rocket Queen, the last song, and probably one of my favorite all-time songs. So yes, a very special place in my heart this album holds.
Very good. That's an excellent way to put it. Like I was saying earlier, and then of course Leith wrapped up on that sometimes an album you pick, it's good just because every song's good or it's well produced, and sometimes it could just have a special sentimental value to you from when you got it as a child.
Or both.
Or both, which brings us to Charles's number 1 pick, which is both. Very sentimental, and I still love this man, and an excellent album. The number 1 pick of all time. The best album ever in the world, undisputed. Like if you think there's a better one, it's just not true.
You're just wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. Best album ever recorded, ever made. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alice Cooper's Billion Dollar Babies. Alice Cooper, Billion Dollar Babies. Excellent album, with my favorite songs being Hello, Hooray, and then the title track, Billion Dollar Babies. And the album